What's going on? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live on this special midnight mass edition. Welcome to the special late night, out of sight, crypto vamps, Doge after dark, whatever you want to call it, folks. But it's good to see each and every one of you guys. It's about a little past 12:30 in my neck of the woods. If you're out on the East Coast or the Florida, you are definitely a crypto vamp coming in at a starting time at 1:30. However, if you're on that West Coast in the United States, you are not even at midnight yet. But great to see you guys. Before we get started, if I could just ask you to smash that like button. I want you to smash that like button like you'd smash your first childhood celebrity crush. Also, if you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. You're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. We've got an awesome, eccentric community here. I dare say we may not be the biggest, but we have the best community here. We really do. I am blessed to have just such an awesome community here, and it's always great to see each and every one of you folks. We want you to join us, so hit subscribe, hit all on that notification bell, and ascend with us to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Lastly, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout the duration of this broadcast, that's immensely helpful for all the time and efforts I put into these live streams. So thank you in advance for that. Without any further ado, who do we got in the chat tonight? We got 7-1, we've got Andy Shirley. We've got Emperor Doge, Dylan McDougal. Hey, Dylan McDougal. Diamond Hands Freddy. Who else do we got in here? Captain Jack. Good to see Captain Jack. Jeremy Abbott. Zombie Doge Army, of course. RWRW. Executor. Julio. Good to see you, Julio. Who else do we got here? We've got... I already said Andy. We got Louis Doge Miller. We've got Mama Crypto. We got Larry Ramirez. We got Link. We got Pink Tuba Tuba. That's a name I haven't seen here in the mix in a bit. Good to see you, Pink Tuba Tuba. Zaxi, good to see you in the mix. All right, guys. What a crew we got lined up tonight as people keep filling on in here. Got a cool show lined up for you guys tonight. Definitely some interesting, provocative things to talk about tonight. And we are going to get down to them all, boppers. We're going to get down to them all. So anyway, so great to see you guys at the top of the hour. Why don't we just bust in? Why don't we just bust right in to the theme of tonight's show? Of course, we're going to talk about other crypto news as well. But the theme of the thumbnail, the theme of the title, we've got Elon Musk gone wild. Elon Musk gone wild. I think the last time I saw you folks, I had to take a few nights off because I've been so busy with my day business. So it's been about 3, maybe 4 days even, hasn't it, folks? Well, anyway, the last time that we were on together, last time I was connecting with you guys, we were talking about Elon's trajectory, how just exciting and ramped up his Twitter feed had been getting. I had never seen anything like it. Well, folks, since that last show, Elon has just been on an absolute firestorm, to the likes of which I'd never seen before. Putting some more opinions out there, getting a bit more confrontational, getting a bit more edgy, right? And so we're going to talk about that because I think it's kind of a fascinating phenomenon that's going on right now. And I do think this all kind of fits into a general cultural sea shift, right? That I think that we're having. A sort of rebellion, if you will, to all of kind of the mainstream narratives that have been foisted upon all of us, arguably over the last, more acutely over the last decade. But what do we got here? Well, let's go to some things Elon has been Elon's been tweeting out here. In fact, there's a meme that he posted today, earlier today, about 11 hours ago. It's a hilarious meme. It's one I've seen make the rounds for a few years now. But it's a meme that if I were to repost it, or many of us were repost it, it would result probably in a breach of what Twitter would consider a terms of service, right? I certainly know that if I were to have posted the meme, I retweeted it, but I didn't post it, it would probably likely result in some sort of shadowing or temporary suspension or whatever. But that's kind of the fun thing too about Elon Musk. In many ways, he's speaking for a lot of us where many of us can't, frankly. I think he's too big to hold down at this point. He's too big to censor, frankly, to a degree anyway. So that was interesting. I would love to repeat the meme and show you the meme, but I know this platform's terms of service, and I just can't risk it there. Then he said, then he posted a picture, folks. He posted a picture of this huge convoy in Canada. I'm sure some of you have been following what's been going on there. That's been pretty interesting. And then he said, I just rewatched True Romance. How many of you seen that movie, True Romance? It's been a long time for me, but that was kind of random and funny. And then he said, lie back and think of Mars. I like that. Lie back and think of Mars. And then he's just going off about, shall we say, I have to tread carefully here. Elon's just absolutely going off about certain restrictions due to certain things that have been going on. He even said, he tweeted this out, if you scare people enough, they will demand removal of freedom. This is the path to tyranny. And then he also tweeted out, Canadian truckers rule. And then it just goes on and on, folks. It goes on and on. And then he tweeted out some other things that I can't say. That's what's so funny, right? This is the irony. That he tweeted out another thing earlier today about a certain virus, okay? And the different sequential changes and how many of those different sequential changes occur before it's not even the original thing that we're calling it anymore. It's just wild stuff, guys. It's wild stuff. Julio coming in with a $2 make a holler. Thank you so much, Julio. Appreciate it so much. And Louis Doge Millie coming in with a $2 super sticker. Thank you for that. Zombie Doge Army also laying down a 2 and 2, as Chuck Woolery used to say on an 80s dating program called Love Connection. And what he would do is every time they took to a commercial break, the commercial breaks back then anyway, times have really changed, but the commercial breaks back then were only 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Of course, that's unheard of these days. They're much longer than that now, unfortunately. So he'd always say, "We'll be back in 2 and 2," and he used to do it just like that, just like that. He used to wear the skinny ties. That was a good revival trend in the 80s, and I was just a little kid at the time, but the skinny ties, always been kind of a fan of the skinny ties, the skinny lapels. Of course, that was more initially popularized throughout the the 50s and 60s. Anyway, great to see you guys. So Elon, let's get back to Elon. Elon also retweeting sky footage of what's been going on with basically the convoy, what I would call the convoy movement throughout Canada. And he also tweeted out this, which I thought was very provocative today. He said, "It would appear that the so-called fringe minority is actually the government." Oh my goodness. It's just, it's wild stuff, and it goes on and on and on. So it's just been very interesting to see that go on. Again, I touched on this on previous shows more recently, about how I think this is very interesting, right? I think it's really interesting because Elon's he's a very hard guy to pin down politically or ideologically, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a lot more effective coming from someone that isn't so easy to pin down in that way. And he does have a lot of nuanced opinions, and some of them people think are controversial, but a lot of the time when you realize, you'll hear a narrative oftentimes about figures like Elon Musk or figures like Joe Rogan, etc. You'll hear a narrative come in from the mainstream media, and it will be a very hyperbolic claim, right? It'll be a very hyperbolic claim. It'll be very kind of like warning you about the dangers of these people's so-called opinions. But if you actually do the research for yourself, many times it's not what they said it was. Their opinions aren't what they're saying that they are, right? It's a lot more nuanced than many times of what we're told that they are. So this is very interesting. I'm feeling a cultural sea shift. I think the usual political paradigms that we've dealt with in the past, they're kind of crumbling. They're kind of becoming more increasingly antiquated. I think this is all healthy stuff. So yeah, we've got spicy Elon. Someone mentioned spicy Elon in the chat. We've definitely got the extra spice for Elon. So folks, what do you say? We're looking at Dogecoin trading at about 13.5 cents. What are you gonna do? Look, I don't think very few of us saw this level of correction coming, should we say. I certainly didn't see it coming. Now, I will say, my predictions for the end of 2021 and going into 2022, particularly for all my end-of-year predictions for 2021, were much more modest than most people in this space, but I was still off. But I was one of the few people that said that Bitcoin probably wasn't going to make it to 100,000 by the end of the year. I put it somewhere around 70,000, but again, still way off. That being said, how bummed out do you want to be about this? It's kind of up to you. I know this may seem redundant to some of you, but I think it bears repeating, right? I think it bears repeating. I am still incredibly bullish and excited about Dogecoin, about cryptocurrency in general, and other cryptocurrency investments that I am bullish on. I do think you got to step back and look at the big picture. At the same time, don't be afraid to pull some profits when things are going well. But overall, the majority of my portfolio in the long-term high-utility projects like Dogecoin, like AVAX, like Ethereum, like Bitcoin, and on, I'm still very comfortable with the decisions I've made. I'm still very comfortable with the decisions I've made. And my if I'm trying to figure out the words to express to you guys, just try to enjoy the ride. Try to enjoy the ride because we have enough history at least to show us that. I know we hear it all the time that we're still early, but we still are early. And I say that to you because the overwhelming majority of people that have become millionaires through cryptocurrency or multimillionaires through cryptocurrency have done so over the course of several years, not over the course of a year, not over the course of even 2 years, and certainly not over the course of 6 months, but over the course of several years. So when you're investing in much higher market cap, high utility projects with strong development and very strong communities to back them, to see those real tasty gains, right, those tasty margins we all want, that's usually something that occurs over the course of several years. I think a misnomer that many people have, new investors have when they come into cryptocurrency, that you can get rich really fast. And frankly, you can. I've seen it with a few of the members, even here, who've done so. That being said, guys, that is the exception by far and not the rule. And it still requires a lot of patience. Now, I will say this, the crypto market is definitely much more volatile and consequently a lot more exciting than the stock market. That's why we're here. That's why all of us spend most of our time and money investing in cryptocurrency and not the stock market. Now, the upside, obviously the upside of spending most of your time and your investment capital in cryptocurrency is you see these big gains that you astronomical gains that you never would see in the stock market, or very, very rarely, that occur very frequently, right, in cryptocurrency. But the downside of that is you also deal with a lot of extra volatility. So you got to have a pretty strong stomach to go the distance, and not everybody's cut from that cloth to be able to do that. I hope in my small way that I've been an encouragement to you guys to try to keep things more reasonable, try to keep you guys more grounded, and to see the big picture. And it also, when we go through periods of the kind of bearish, I dare say we're kind of actually approaching a bearish market right now. Now which could change very quickly, by the way, which could change very quickly. I want to make that very clear. But that being said, this also goes to show how important it is to build communities, make friends, and just enjoy the ride. That's why from its inception, now I've been live streaming for a little over a year now, right? Time flies when you're having fun. That's why it's important to me that I never wanted to create a channel that only talks about cryptocurrency constantly. Now, this is obviously a super crypto-centric channel, and all of you know that I'm very Doge-centric. I love dog money. But that being said, it's not just only limited and restricted to that. I think it makes things more fun, particularly when you're streaming as often as I usually do. Now, speaking to that, folks, I want to tell you something. I know I haven't been streaming as much. I've been whipping my business pretty much back into shape, okay? Getting things really rocking on that front again, and that's been drawing most of my time and energy. But once I get that model whipped back into shape, and I'm starting to get there now, I will be able to have more freed up time where you will see me stream more frequently like I used to. So just bear with me as I go through this interim, okay, this change in my life, but I just want to let you guys know I do plan on streaming more often again soon as I get my my business orders in order. Okay, so let's see what's going on in the chat. I have emotional damage from Doge right now. However, I believe, as Steven Steele says, we are going to win, and we will. Well, thank you for your comment, Jason Huffman. Okay, emotional damage. I'm trying to think how to approach this. What I hear from a comment like that is you've been let down. You've perhaps been underwhelmed for the performance of Dogecoin. I understand that. I mean, I empathize with that. Doge is far and away my number one position as it relates to cryptocurrency. That being said, I'm not really sweating the technique, as Eric B. and Rakim used to say in the early 90s. I say this because over the long haul on this thing and the developments that are taking place, I think there are lots of reasons to be incredibly bullish, incredibly optimistic. I mean, most cryptos would absolutely kill for the opportunities and the publicity and the things that are in the cards for Dogecoin. And these are things that are going to transpire in the very near future. Now, I will say this, before you get too bummed out about where your portfolio is looking, specifically more as it relates to Dogecoin. Look at what Bitcoin's doing, folks. So the market depression that we're seeing right now as it relates to Dogecoin is top down. Whether we like it or not, we are still in a Bitcoin dominant market. I don't think that's always going to be the case, but it also should bring you some solace. It should bring you some peace of mind. And I say that because we are still subject to the whims of Bitcoin. Now, I do think the future of Bitcoin is very strong, very bright. I think it's going to continue to excel dramatically as a appreciation of value, digital gold, if you will. Just a more volatile gold until the popularity keeps ascending to where we want it and need it to be, and I think we'll get there. I say that, though, as well, to just kind of comfort you guys about your Doge investment, because I do think also as Bitcoin rises, so will Doge. And we also have plenty of reasons to believe, even over the course of 2022, even regardless of what the economy is doing, even regardless of what this administration is doing, that Dogecoin is rapidly cementing its place in the halls of epic digital currency history. And, we have the wealthiest man in the world, Elon Musk. He kind of toggles back and forth, right, between number one and number two with Jeff Bezos, or the wealthiest man in the world. But regardless, he is still incredibly excited, incredibly devoted to Dogecoin. And we have seen how many times people have doubted Elon Musk over the course of his career, stemming all the way back to his involvement with PayPal. Furthermore than that, we have seen people continuously underestimate Dogecoin going back to its inception in 2013. People even way back then, Dogecoin will never get to a penny. People were saying this. This is very common criticism of Dogecoin back in 13 and 14 and so on. You can talk to Nick Balls about that. He's been invested in Dogecoin since 2014. So people have been consistently underestimating Dogecoin for many years now. Many people have consistently predicted the death of Doge many times over the last 8 years, and of course they are proved wrong every time. I see this as kind of a direct parallel to Elon Musk's relationship not only with Dogecoin but Tesla as well. I do think that there's a very high probability that Tesla as a company is going to overtake the general value assessment of even Apple. I think it's going to get there. Erectile Reptile, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you. How's everyone's night going? Fact. Well, firstly, my night's going very swell, very swell. Fact, when you are burning to death, your eyes melt out of your head before you die. Be careful on fire. Well, that's not a very pleasant thought. Erectile reptile. The only thing I can think of when I read that super chat out loud is that one of the final scenes in Raiders of the Lost Ark. How many of you guys have seen Raiders of the Lost Ark? Classic movie. I think what year did that come out? Somebody want to Google that for me? But I'm going to guess 1981, maybe 82. Anyway, yeah, there's that scene at the end of the Raiders of the Lost Ark where Harrison Ford says to that woman, while they're opening the Ark, he says, "Close your eyes, don't open them." And everyone who kept their eyes open had meltdowns. I mean, literal meltdowns. They just, their bodies and their eyes melted. Anyway, guys. I love the first Indiana Jones. I love the second Indiana Jones. I love the third one. That third one actually is really interesting because that's when they brought in Sean Connery as Indiana Jones' father. That fourth one, I'm not so sure about that one. That was like the Crystal Skulls or whatever. I'm not sure if I like the Crystal Skulls. You know what? I remember literally going to that movie when it first came out for a matinee, and I literally fell cold asleep, and I woke up towards the end. So, yeah. But other than that, a big fan of those Indiana Jones movies. Big fan of Harrison Ford, really. I think he's one of the greats. Anyway, let's go. FX Street reporting. Dogecoin bulls set for bounce off or fade in trade next week. Dogecoin has bears drilling for a third week towards the 12-cent mark, trying to break to the downside. Doge price sees bulls defending the level as a squeeze gets underway. Expect either 12.5 to hold or a perfect bandwidth for a fade-in trade next week. Doge price sees its downtrend starting to flatline a bit as bears look unable to break below 12.5, a level that was tested last week and a week back in December. As the price bounced up again each time after hitting that level, it looks to be set to do the same again as the relative strength index shows no signs of any bears overpowering the bulls. With that, next week could be a big make or break for the mentioned level, or bulls could start to buy Doge coins in the bandwidth upwards of 19 cents. So folks, this is actually really good news because no matter how hard the market gets hammered over and over again, Dogecoin holding its own at its lowest about 12.5 cents before ascending and bouncing back no matter how hard it gets hammered. Now, why is Dogecoin able to keep the market cap where it's at? Why is it able to hang out in or right at around the top 10 consistently no matter what the market is doing? Well, that's because of people like you. That's because of people like me. We've got an enormous amount of long-term dedicated holders in Dogecoin, and that's in large part to the strong, fun, free-spirited community that we've built, down to organic channels and organic communities like this. And that kind of really has, I believe, a really tentacle-esque effect throughout the broader market as it relates to an investment like Dogecoin. So I think it's a very much a testimony to the survival of Dogecoin, whereas most cryptocurrencies haven't been able to withstand all of the hits that have been taking place, not only in the cryptocurrency market, but through the general, all markets. And that's another thing that kind of gets left out of people explaining and grappling what's been going on here with the cryptocurrency market. The stock market is just getting hammered very excessively as well. Furthermore, we have an economy and inflation rates that are really in rough shape, honestly, really in rough shape. When you look at the trajectory of how far how far we've slid over the past year or so, it's just been a very dramatic and unfavorable trajectory. So, I mean, I hate to say it, folks, but to a certain degree, the general health of the market and inflation rates are going to have a negative impact not only on cryptocurrency, but all the markets. I just got to keep it real with you in that regard. That's the bad news. The good news is cryptocurrency does also have a history at some points, even during economic hardship times and times of not so favorable inflation rates, of still making some very strong bull runs. Now, we also have a lot of things happening in terms of the advancement of cryptocurrency and the incredible strides that we've made, particularly over the last year, towards the mainstreamization of cryptocurrency. Now, I wouldn't say that we've arrived to the mainstreamization of digital currency, because I don't think we have. I do think we will. But we are getting there. So there are a lot of wildcard factors that we could see. Now, listen to me very carefully, folks. Throughout 2022, we could see trend lines bust in ways that we've never seen before. And I want you to take this as a footnote to be hopeful about. And what do we point to? What do I point to attribute this as a possibility, to attribute this optimism to? Well, I'm about to tell you, folks. The NFT space, the NFT market has been going absolutely gangbusters, absolutely wild and out of control, even through the most bearish weeks of the crypto market. Recently, we've just seen an absolute explosion in popularity and money in transactions taking place throughout the NFT market. The NFT market has absolutely overall been thriving to degrees that we've never seen before. Now, what does this tell us? That means if enough people, are engaged and enthusiastic about new sectors of investment, like we're seeing with NFTs and cryptocurrency, we can break the odds. We can accomplish things that typically we haven't seen in the past. And the NFT market is proving that to be the case. Now, this gives me no reason to believe why we can't do that in the crypto market as well, despite whatever inflation rates are coming our way, despite what other economic trends are coming our way. Now, even when you look at, it's kind of inspiring, even though they're much more high risk, high reward investments. But when you look at lower market cap cryptocurrencies, when a band of people come together and they really want to make things pop, they can really make it pop, and they can really make some significant gains there. Now, I do think that the crypto market does have the ability within this year, let's say the market keeps floundering, I do think, particularly with Elon Musk, shaking everything up, I do think that we have the capability to make some incredible bullish strides throughout this year. Despite that, I think right now people are still kind of in shock. We've got a new administration that's been in office just a little bit over a year now. Things have obviously changed a lot economically over since then. So I think people are still kind of in shock, pulling the purse strings back. There's anxiety about anticipating the taxes, all these kinds of things. But there is going to be a level of normalization of people dealing with a not so good economy, dealing with with not so good inflation rates. And I say that this because there is actually a really big potential silver lining to this, where once the normalization kicks in more, people are going to recalibrate and figure out how they can still stand strong in their investments and move forward. And people will, this is the thing too, people get involved in cryptocurrency and NFTs in part, in a arguably large part, to add more excitement to their lives. Regardless of what this economy does over the next 3 years, regardless of what the inflation rates do over the next 3 years, people in the NFT space, people in the crypto space crave excitement, and they make excitement happen for themselves. Here on this show, night after night, we make excitement happen for ourselves. The Dogecoin community is very much a quintessential example of generating organic excitement for yourselves, no matter what everything else is doing. So I think there is a lot of tremendous opportunity still here ahead as we forge ahead really into 2022 for things to potentially break out massively despite what's been going on there. But I just think people are still adjusting. People are still adjusting to the new realities. And once they adjust, look, there's no way There's no way the majority of crypto investors, the majority of NFT investors are just going to sit by and twiddle their thumbs and not get excited and not make things happen for themselves over the next 3 years. I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening, folks. Let's see what's going on in the chat while I've been gabbing on here. Let's see what's going on. By the way, if you're brand new here, you've been watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. It's so great to have you with us, and feel free to join our community because we've got an awesome eccentric community. I want you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe, hit all on that notification bell. We'd love to have you. What's going on here? Anyone else think that Pro the Doge just put a sticker on a Visa card for the likes? We will get to that story. In a moment. I need to learn more about NFTs. Don't know what I'm doing with those things. Oh, I would say this to you. If you don't know what you're doing about NFTs, don't be in any hurry to buy any. Don't be in any hurry to buy any because it's a very tricky market to navigate if you want to be profitable. And we're reading about stories every day where, young kids are becoming millionaires by flipping NFTs. And this is definitely something that's happening. Something that's going to continue to happen. But I will say this, if you don't have much experience with NFTs, I would recommend browse around, start looking around, start listening in on NFT spaces and, just looking out and just browsing around different collections and learning more about them. You kind of start to learn patterns of, generally anyway, what makes an NFT line successful. The bar is being raised very quickly now for NFT lines in terms of what investors want to see, in terms of the development team, in terms of the commitment to the stated goals of that development, and utility. So you want to really want to look for a super strong, committed, ambitious team, preferably one that stocks, but not always necessarily, but preferably. I think those are good markers to look for. Now, an exception to this rule that doesn't really apply is if the creator and the person that conceived the NFT line is already a well-established, famous artist, right? Or somebody that's already famous in general. It's certainly not a foregone conclusion that somebody that's leading up an NFT project like that it will be successful. But particularly if it's a really well renowned artist that's coming out with an NFT line, then the usual rules don't really apply. They don't necessarily have to have this extensive roadmap, or they don't really have to have all these extensive plans, because they're already super well respected artists in and of their own right, without all the other stuff. So that is an exception to that rule. I will say another exception to that rule would be like Blocky Doge, right? Blocky Doge is Billy Marcus's NFT line. Well, not everybody, but everyone in these circles well knows who Billy Marcus is. He just passed 1 million followers on Twitter, right? And he is, the co-creator of Dogecoin. So when he makes the blocky Doges, which are the different pixelated character versions of Shiba Inu dogs, it creates a level of direct authenticity that has out of the gate has a higher perceived value, and that's why the floors overall have been holding pretty strong on Billy Marcus's NFT lines in the absence of a roadmap, in the absence of a lot of direct team involvement. But I also heard that they are going to start doing some collaborations with the Doge Pound, which I think could be pretty interesting. And I will say too, another thing to look out for. I hate to mention these small market cap projects because every time I do, somebody accuses me of shilling them or whatever, which is not the case. But I'm just using this as an example. I'm not telling you to, just disclaimer, I'm not telling you to go out and invest in this. But I'm just using this as something to look out for. Xenu, which is the zombie Inu, it's a BSC. Now they've involved a really strong team. It's a silly name. It's another Inu knockoff, whatever. But the people that they've been getting involved are so incredibly high profile, particularly kind of captains of industry within the video game industry and things like that. So when you start seeing big power play moves like that jump on a project, usually those are generally things usually generally good signs. Generally good signs. Anyway, your Andy says if an elephant can make $1 million, I can too. I can too. I like that. So Dogecoin is set for a bullish candle next week or the week after that. Again, FX Street is reporting Dogecoin price saw bulls trying to break out towards a 200-day simple moving average, but bulls got stopped short in their tracks and even had to give away to bears as the Fed geopolitical themes decided otherwise. With headwinds, investors were not interested in parking their money in cryptocurrencies, resulting in another downbeat week. I think this is a notable paragraph to read from this article because it makes me think of all the FUD, of course, that we've seen from the Federal Reserve and prominent members in Senate and in this current administration who've been vehemently anti-crypto across the board. And that certainly hasn't helped matters. But I do think this is a necessary part of the evolution in establishing the popularization and mainstreamization of digital currency. You see, the reason why they're acting up so much more lately is because they're kind of on their last throes of trying to stop something that frankly just is too big to be stopped. So it's kind of like these last ditch flailing attempts in order to stop the inevitable. And typically those are the signals you will see when new emerging technologies or new emerging societal trends or cultural shifts take place. You will see this sort of thing happen, and I do think that is how I interpret it. Particularly when we saw Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates really was kind of indifferent to cryptocurrency until it really dawned on him that this really is looking like an inevitable future. Then he tried to say he went from being indifferent to Bitcoin, and then he's like, oh, we can't support cryptocurrency because so many criminals are using digital currency, and that's why it's bad. Well, criminals are going to find a way to use any kind of currency. That is not specific to cryptocurrency. That's a ridiculous argument when you think about how much criminals have used fiat currency and cash. In fact, I think criminals are even much more likely to use cash because there's no trace, there's no blockchain, etc., blockchain history, etc. And then Bill Gates' next reason for being against cryptocurrency was it's an environmental hazard, right? It's an environmental hazard, and we've discussed this. Personally, I'm very pro-environment, but I do think that the claims and the fear-mongering that has gone on from people like Bill Gates have been tremendously overblown, particularly when you see how much energy the regular system uses up. There's just no comparison. And furthermore, the more energy efficient mining practices have been really making such incredible progress so rapidly. I really don't perceive this as being a long-term concern. What's going on here? I love Neil Young too, just whatever. Some people expressing a little bit disappointment with Neil Young. Kind of, his recent trajectory seems to not really be aligned with keep on rocking in the free world. Yeah, and what do you make of all this, what's going on with Spotify? We've got different boomer recording artists saying, either Joe Rogan goes or I go. And Spotify's like, bye. It's just like, I don't understand. I feel like making ultimatums like that, it's like funny, but also disheartening to see people of that age acting like this over what amounts to just, some differences of opinion. I would dare say if they even did the research or listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, they would realize that the differences aren't even as severe and aren't as great as they're being told, by many sectors in the legacy media. But I would like to see an episode of Neil Young sitting down with Joe Rogan for a few hours. I think that would be a pretty interesting show. Barron's is reporting the White House is ignoring Tesla. Elon Musk pushes back on Twitter with a spelling lesson. The strange but often entertaining beef between the Biden administration and Elon Musk's company Tesla took another turn Thursday. The president praised GM Motors again as an electric vehicle leader in a video with GM CEO Mary Barra. Musk responded on Twitter, of course. And the rest of the article is behind a paywall, I just realized. But we'll just take it from there. Elon Musk then, of course, responded in true smart aleck fashion, should we say, to that, helping the president spell Tesla. It's pretty interesting for an administration that espouses to make the reduction of carbon emissions through the evolution of electric vehicles, a huge priority, that they won't even acknowledge Tesla, which is literally responsible for about 75% of all EVs that are on the road. So to have a conversation and ignore the existence of Tesla when talking about wanting to reduce the environmental impact of vehicles that vehicles have on this planet just seems pretty silly to me. It's almost like it's almost like talking about competitive swimwear, but you're gonna omit like Speedo from that conversation. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of a clumsy analogy. RW says Bill Gates is an environmental hazard, and who has made him an expert and a doc. Yeah, I hear you, RW. In fact, let's take a look. I know I've brought this up once before, but it hasn't been a while. So I'm looking up Bill Gates's carbon footprint. Let's look up Bill Gates's carbon footprint. What is the carbon footprint of Bill Gates? According to a study, Gates's annual footprint is about 7,500 metric tons of carbon, mostly from a lot of flying. Further, the anthropologists found that that's kind of a non sequitur there. So what's interesting is Bill Gates' carbon footprint is astronomically higher than the average citizens. And, it is what it is. That's fine. I'm not saying he's wrong for that, but the hypocrisy gets pretty rich, given how heavy-handed and he is with his proposed desired future for all of us. Am I a mod? Someone asked. No, you're not a mod because you don't have a wrench next to your name. Dogecoin the Moon. By the way, Dogecoin the Moon, welcome to the chat. Hang out a little longer, and that's how you get to be. That's how you get to be a mod. Anyway, what's going on? The POTUS can't say Tesla. It is a curious thing, isn't it? It's a curious thing. Now, Billy Marcus explained what needs to happen to increase Doge adoption. Billy Marcus, who co-created Dogecoin, by the way, this comes courtesy of CryptoGlobe.com, who co-created Dogecoin in 2013 alongside Jackson Palmer, recently told the altcoin's fervent community about a plan to grow adoption. Marcus pointed out that Doge supporters should work to persuade companies to accept Dogecoin as a form of payment, thereby increasing its use and broader appeal. Marcus instructed community members to be cool when asking companies to accept Doge, noting that few people enjoy listening to jerks. That's pretty sage advice. He also recommended educating businesses on the benefits of accepting Dogecoin, including highlighting the passionate community and large number of supporters. Yeah, I think this is pretty common sense advice, something I certainly talked a lot about on the show in the past. One of the most effective things we can do is really show strong presence, high, strong engagement with various companies who even express a little bit of interest in Dogecoin, because when these companies see an enormous amount of engagement off of just doing very little as it relates to posting anything remotely about Dogecoin, it encourages them obviously to get much more involved. And we have seen some really incredible examples of that over the past year, and even more specifically over the last 3 or 4 months. I think the Dogecoin community has been more exceptional at that than any other community, and more effective than any other community in crypto. So yeah, I'd agree with Billy there. Now, CoinDesk is reporting, this is a pretty cool article actually. I looked this over, it all looked pretty right on to me. Opinion piece: 6 reasons for optimism this crypto winter. Why this downturn is different from 2018. And of course that subtitle refers to a super excessive downturn that we saw in 2018 as related to Bitcoin on down. But I do think there are a number of factors here that do not make this a clear, clean analogy to what we saw in 2018 into the 2022. And I will just quickly go over the 6 points he made, all of which I thought were pretty valid. Layer 2 scaling systems, no longer just an idea, whether it's the Lightning Network for low-cost Bitcoin payments or ZK rollups. The power of these DeFi projects, applications, or multi-party computation projects enabling secure online custody, cryptographic advancements over the last 3 years have gone from concept to deployment. These innovations will lead the network to processing scalability. That's the need for blockchain technology to go mainstream. I have to be honest, folks. Sometimes all of the crypto lingo gets a bit too laborious, a little bit boring to me sometimes. So that's why sometimes I'll pick up pace, because I'm like, I know what they're trying to say. I just I don't want to just spend a ton of time talking like that, but I know exactly what they mean. But yeah, that is so we went from concept to actual reality in that regard, and I think that's a very bullish sign for crypto. Permissionless models are winning, thanks partly to the technological improvements described above. Recent crypto success stories are concentrated among permissionless projects open to any participants, rather than the permission projects once favored by incumbent players. The money is being made in DeFi, NFTs, and decentralized autonomous organizations, the DAOs, not so much in IBM's once prominent enterprise blockchain offerings. So this is a clear distinction between, many times we see people like to draw parallels to what's happening in the cryptocurrency market now to when the .com boom, pretty much blew up in everybody's face. But there are way too many factors here to be able to make a strong, direct analogy to what happened then with the .com situation. So I think that is a pretty good example of that. Corporates and financial institutions are here now. Oh, absolutely. They're already on board, folks. They're already on board. Some of the most prominent companies and corporations are heavily invested, at least in Bitcoin, and they see this as a long-term investment to really, really increase their capital over the course of years. And folks, there are way too many of those folks to be involved for this to be considered anything remotely fringe at this time. And we've got even Adidas and Warner Brothers and Time Magazine. They're all huge investors in cryptocurrency. Regulation implies normalization. I've said this before. I think it's another great point. The downside of regulation is we don't want anything to be overly regulated. We don't want to be taxed any more than we already are, God forbid. The upside to that is with regulation comes normalization. That means that they recognize it's not going anywhere. So we might as well, we better start putting some basic laws and more regulation into place, because this cryptocurrency stuff is not a fad. It's here to stay. It's only increasing in popularity. It's a legit permanent part of our markets now. So that's, if there's one silver lining, right, to one of the only silver linings rather to regulation, that would be it. Also, he went on to explain that the mad 2017 token price run-up and subsequent collapse in 2018 was largely endemic to the crypto sector. It was stoked by Now listen to this. It was stoked by investor mania for ICOs and by blind belief in the untested ideas of founders who raised billions of dollars on flimsy white papers. The inflated prices for this vaporware. I like that word, vaporware. Vaporware. It reminds me of vaporwave. Vaporwave, which is kind of like a new style of digital art. Or I think vaporwave is also a genre of music, as I understand, just like synthwave. Yeah, it's kind of, I think it's a subsidiary of synthwave. Anyway, vaporware inevitably deflated when doubts about their promises grew. The current situation is quite different. While excessive enthusiasm for new tokens contributed to the unsustainable price rallies, crypto's ballooning market capitalization was also fueled by unprecedented fiat monetary expansion as central banks pumped trillions of dollars worth of quantitative easing into the global economy to soften the impact of pandemic-fueled global recession. Now, with good reason, crypto's concurrent collapse with stocks and other assets led to some question, the claim that Bitcoin is an uncorrelated asset and hedge against inflation. But I think the excessive part of the crypto price rally, the part that took Bitcoin from 30,000 to 65,000, but not that which drove it from 10,000 to 30,000, was perhaps due to other factors, and I would agree with them there. And the author concludes on this piece: once price settles, we should be in a better position to how to gauge for their how much of their future advances will be driven by legitimate crypto-only factors such as described talking points 1 through 4. So yeah, I do not see. I know you'll see a fair amount of people and even some content creators saying that we are headed into such a bear market to the degree that we are seeing direct parallels between the great crypto crash of 2017, 18, and what's happening now. I think there are way too many new factors here that set it apart from that. I think that's a clumsy analogy. I don't foresee that happening. In fact, again, folks, I'd like to put this caveat: things could break out very bullishly at any moment in this market. Don't forget that it could happen at any moment. It could happen soon in the next few days, next couple of weeks. I'm still very bullish personally on the momentum of Dogecoin will have by the end of 2022. We're seeing a lot of just excitement out there, particularly when Robinhood now finally integrating those wallets, and people are starting to demo those out. And as that goes forward, you know, when you consider that Robinhood is responsible for over 30% of all worldwide Dogecoin holders, they just started to roll those out. I haven't gotten mine yet because I was a bit lower on that list. Anyway, let's see what's going on in the chat. I want to know your thoughts on the Dogecoin card. Steven Steele, sorry to make you wait. I know I've just been... Guys, I haven't gone live in like 3 or 4 nights, so I've just got all these thoughts, right? I'm just trying to get them out as efficiently as I can while covering everything that I plan to cover. Jason Huffman logging off. I will try again. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, Jason. Maybe like do a hard start. If you're watching on your phone, do like the hard reset, hard start. It's weird being in a chat without the wrench. Zombie, give Alan back his... What's going on, Danny? What's going on? Oh, you guys are funny. Okay, let's get to the Doge card. I'm going to bring up an article that I was reviewing for this before. I know a few of you were wondering about it. And I am just scrolling through my notes here to find out where the article on the Doge card was. Because it's definitely something. Okay, here it is. Benzinga, courtesy of Benzinga. Benzinga writes, as of yesterday, Dogecoin millionaire claims a Visa-based Doge card is in the works. We all know who the Dogecoin millionaire guy is. It happened in a Friday night tweet Cantasoto, that's his real name, shared an image of the purported Doge Visa card to his over 208,000 followers. There were various reactions to the tweet, some expressing support for such a collaboration. Others replied, doubted the idea, said that he was doing more harm than good with the tweet. Another follower said that Dogecoin founder Billy Marcus has already indicated his opposition to the idea of the Doge credit card. Why it matters, they write, is because Visa and MasterCard have already engaged in crypto-related partnerships. MasterCard announced a deal with Coinbase earlier this month for customers to be able to use MasterCard and debit cards to make purchases on the crypto exchange's upcoming NFT marketplaces. Visa, meanwhile, partnered with BlockFi in 2020 to let cardholders receive 1.5% of their purchases back in Bitcoin. Now, what is my opinion on this? I am approaching this very carefully. I know it's very easy. I know some people have strong feelings one way or another about a figurehead like the Dogecoin millionaire, and I understand. Let me just say I understand those feelings. That being said, I'm not totally against this idea. I'm not saying I'm for it either. I'm still researching it. I think it's a little bit early for me to have concluded if this is a good idea or not. What I can tell you is this. I guess the cause for potential concern would be that this is something conceived by a third party outside of Visa. So where is their money going to be made? And not that I'm saying this company that is spearheading this shouldn't make money, but what do those cuts look like, and how is that going to affect the consumer, right? Are they going to be excessive fees, etc., or are they going to be within realms of, reasonable fees, things like this? Now, on the flip side of this, I think this could have the potential to be very big. When you consider that people will be able to store and transfer as much Dogecoin as they want on a physical card, and be able to buy things with that physical card, kind of much like a debit card, but loading it with Dogecoin. I think this could be a very, and potentially, I would say potentially, a very empowering step to spreading the adoption of Dogecoin. I've always loved the idea of carrying around a credit card for Doge or for crypto, and that you could almost I would love to have that option in the future where you could just slide to pay with your crypto card, slide to pay with your Doge card in the future, where we have enough adaption going on from companies to allow that. I do think we're eventually going to get there. I really do. So I like the concept. In theory, I do like this. So I'm kind of on the fence with it. I just am going to continue to learn more about it. So that's where I'm at with it right now. As I do begin to learn more details about the Doge card and their policies and who's behind it, I will be able to give you guys a more detailed, more informed opinion. So that's where I sit on it right now. Jason Upman coming in at $20. Make you holler. Biggest super chat of the night. Thank you so much for helping to keep the lights on over here at Steele HQ. Mr. Huffman says, super chat works again. Woohoo! I didn't know it was disabled. So, but I for one, am glad it's working again, of course. I for one am very glad it's working again. Thanks for putting a little pep in our step, Mr. Jason Huffman, long-time community member. Just all around awesome dude. Glad he made it back. Glad that he figured it out. Concept, yes, exactly, Andy. So that's where I sit with the Doge card at this time. Now, on to other very important news. I'm sure you're just all on the edge of your seat over right now, folks. Justin Bieber enters the Bored Ape NFT chat with a $1.3 million purchase. So Justin Bieber purchased a Bored Ape for $1.3 million. Grammy Award-winning artist Justin Bieber ventures further into the wonderful world of NFTs, becoming a member of the renowned Bored Ape Yacht Club, dropping some serious dough. One of their NFTs, how much you ask? Nothing crazy, just 1.3 million, which equates to about 500 ETH. Do we care? Not really, not really. But you know, it's kind of fun to talk about because the Bored Ape Yacht Club kind of started off as this kind of like almost accidentally successful subculture with super well thought out art that was really really engrossing and really kind of captivated people's imaginations and its potential. And it's kind of a dichotomy, right? Because the Bored Ape Yacht Club is the most successful NFT line out there. So the floor gets ridiculously high, where the only people that can afford to become Bored Apes at this entry level are the uber rich and celebrities. So now, and then also one of the selling points for being a Bored Ape holder is the unique special access, you know, to particular events for only holders, etc., etc. And I thought to myself, what does that really look like? What does that really look like if you were to show up to a room full of Bored Ape NFT holders? Do you really think that's going to be like the most exclusive, fun place to be? Or would you rather spend a weekend in Vegas with your man, Real Deal Steven Steele, for those of us plebs, right? That sounds like a lot more fun. Don't you agree? Don't you agree? We may not be rolling in millions in Bored Apes, but you know, we could spend a little money to party it up in Vegas with the Eagles of Death Metal and whoever else is going to make that event. That seems like a lot more fun, and there's not a 1 million plus club entry fee to do so. You just need to have enough money, get enough scratch together, get your plane ticket, get your butt over to Vegas, and you know, flip the hotel and a few lunch buffets. You're good to go, my friends. You're good to go. So I will keep you posted as things evolve on that the Vegas Weekender getaway thing. So you know, think about it. Who are Bored Ape holders now? We've got Justin Bieber, we've got Jimmy Fallon, and we've got Eminem, and we've got Ty Lopez. You know Ty Lopez, the guy that first coined kind of like the most effective YouTube ad spam campaigns out there. And his first ad was like, check out all the money I've made and check out my Lambo. And I don't even think it was his Lambo at the time. And he's like, and Lambos are cool, don't get me wrong, but you know what's cooler than Lambos? Knowledge. And so when I saw Ty Lopez bought a Bored Ape, I was like, you know what's cooler than a Bored Ape, Ty Lopez? Knowledge. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Do you want to pay $1 million so you can have exclusive access to events with Justin Bieber and Ty Lopez? I'm good. So don't be wrong. I would still love to own one, but I'd flip it. I'd be honest. I wouldn't be a long-term Bored Ape holder. I would flip that. I'd flip it. I'd take my mill and a half, and call it a day. And I'd spend part of it on a fun-filled weekend to Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. We are going to do it to it. I don't know what else they got now, guys. I'm just kind of ripping, but let's see what else is here on my notes. Let's see. Daily Wire is reporting Bette Midler responds to West Virginia governor aiming his dog's butt at her. This is a real story. Bette Midler couldn't let this one go. The outspoken actress responded to the West Virginia governor, Jim Justice. How about that for a name? Governor Jim Justice. It sounds like kind of like a very bland superhero. It sounds like a pretty unsuccessful comic from the 1960s. That they only made like 12. They only made like a series of 12 on Marvel of it's Governor Jim Justice, The Adventures of Governor Jim Justice. And then like the sales were so bad that it just went into oblivion. Anyway, Bette Midler got in a mix-up with the West Virginia governor, Jim Justice, holding up his bulldog's rear end and stating that Midler could kiss her hiney. What? The act came as a retaliation for derogatory comments the Hocus Pocus alum made about the residents of West Virginia. I gotta say, not the biggest Bette Midler fan personally, but Hocus Pocus was pretty good. That was a pretty good movie, right? Yeah. Justice shared his not-so-subtle statement at the conclusion of his State of the State address last week. Oh my gosh! Governor Jim Justice concluded his State of the State address by holding... I need to look up this footage now. By holding up his dog's butt to the crowd and saying that Bette Midler could kiss it. What? The governor held up his famous bulldog baby dog butt first while saying, "Baby dog tells Bette Midler and all of those out there, kiss her hiney." The act was met with a standing ovation. The now 76-year-old actress is sharing her response publicly. Midler replied to Justice Diss on Twitter by retweeting an image of the event that included the caption, "Here we can see a dog's a-hole. Right next to it is the butt of Jim Justice's dog." You know, that was Midler she kind of landed a zinger there. Not gonna lie. In a follow-up tweet, she said, "By the way, here are the state rankings of all the areas and agencies for the so-called governor Jim Justice is responsible for." Okay. Now it gets less funny, Bette Midler. It gets less funny. Don't push your luck. You had one good zinger. You should have left it alone with the one good zinger. And you could have walked with, a pseudo W, but you kind of squandered. You squandered your W. Miss Hocus Pocus. What's going on? Swift Lipinski, good to see you in the mix, says, "Let's get sexy." Let's get sexy, guys. It's 1:45 in the morning on a weeknight. Let's get sexy. When Vegas, says Bob Crypto, I don't know, but I know I'm determined to make it happen within this year, guys. Within this year, so I will keep you posted. And Viva Las Vegas it's an Elvis jam. That's one of Elvis's better jams, I think. Suspicious Minds always kind of got me right here, though. That's been one of my karaoke go-tos. She was awesome back in the day. Yeah. Hocus Pocus was good. I'm trying to think. What? Peaches?
Yeah.
Oh, Beaches. Oh, that's too much of a chick flick for me. But you're a chick. Yeah, but I'm good on Beaches. I think I'd rather watch On the Golden Pond than Beaches. Let's see here. What else do I got, guys? Not a whole lot. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I believe when RW says, "I believe we are in the date when Idiocracy occurred. We have arrived." All kidding aside, Idiocracy came out, I think about 15 years ago. Let me look that up quick and see when. I'm guessing it came out about, if I had to speculate. Okay, 2016 or 2006. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. I was about right. It's 16 years ago. I guess 15 years. So when that movie came out, the premise of the movie that Luke Wilson wakes up 500 years into the future to a dystopian nightmare where everyone's like too stupid to even tie their shoes, let alone run a civilized society. And it seemed just super hyperbolic. And then people started joking, "Oh, this could be a documentary. This could be happening sooner than we anticipate." And now, 15 years later, it's not only starting to happen sooner than we anticipate. You're starting to see direct parallels now, present moment, that look like they could have come right out of that. So, let's see what's going on in chat. Yeah, Brondo. What's what plants crave. And of course, where's the Beef Supreme then? Speaking of which, Beef Supreme is kind of not tuned in quite some time. Yeah. I wonder if they'll ever make a sequel to Idiocracy 2. I wonder if they'll ever make a sequel to Idiocracy. Or a sequel to Idiocracy 2. That doesn't make sense. It's sequel to Idiocracy. All right, guys. Well, that's about all I have for tonight. I'm going to have a late, good, hearty dinner and just cool out. I will try not to be as long until the next stream. Who knows? Maybe I'll even stream tomorrow night. I'll try to. I'm going to try to stream tomorrow night, but no guarantees. But I'm going to try to do that. Anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for hanging out. Also, always awesome connecting with you guys. You guys are the best. So thank you for your. Excuse me. Thank you for your continued support. Love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Until then, stay positive. Don't forget to have fun. Deep breaths, guys. Deep breaths. Don't forget it. If you're already not following me on Twitter, what are you doing? Mr. Steven Steele _ That's where you find me. By the way, Twitter has been quite the day for me today. I tweeted out something early this morning, and then I checked back on it at the end of my workday. It's up now. It's past 30,000 likes, guys. 30,000 likes. Can you believe it? Let's see where it's at now. I'm just kind of curious before we log off. Kind of wild. So right now that tweet is sitting right at, drum roll please, yeah, about 32,000 likes from this morning. So, you never know. This stuff's always so wild, isn't it? Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Until next time, this is your man, Real Deal, Steven Steele, signing out. Just the piece of